go through it component by component. So our 2-tension rope system with 2 MPDs up here anchored nice and close together. So the two operators can see each other, can track the movement of each other's ropes. So the idea with our rigging is we've been in class 3 and we needed to evolve this to a 2-rope system. So we just left the initial belay bridle on the litter tied in with a figure 8 on a bight. And then to add in our second rope, we've wrapped in and direct tied the second line with a Yosemite finished bowline. We can use bowlines in an application where it's under constant tension, right? So we're good with that. The reason we've got the figure 8 on the bight is it's been acting as a belay, so it's not under constant tension. So our preferred knot for that would be the figure 8 on a bight. So moving on down, we have the litter actually tethered here, so that we can, no matter what we're doing with the rigging upstream with the main system, the litter's not going to go running down the cliff. That's important. So we've got the litter tethered. We've got our patient packaging supplies in here, and we'll be packaging Mr. Bogar in as the patient. So you'll see the 4 straps around the stretcher. These are litter attendant straps, and these are the main attachment point for our litter attendants. We're transitioning to class 4 terrain. Basically what we've said to ourselves is we no longer feel confident as rescuers. We're no longer comfortable with the consequences of the fall as rescuers. The class 3 that we did this morning, as individual rescuers, you know, if you start to trip and fall, what do you do?
Put your hands down.
What's that?
Put your hands down.
Put your hands down, which necessitates what?
Dropping the patient.
Letting go of the litter, right? So we can, if we're going to fall in class 3 terrain, just, you know, we've got enough people on the litter, you're going to fall, you're going to let go of the litter and take care of yourself. Well, now we're transitioning into terrain where you can't just take care of yourself by letting go of the litter. In fact, you want to hang on to the litter, and when you start hanging on to the litter, that should cue you off that we're getting to the point where we actually want to start thinking about rigging a system so that we can actually depend on the system as well. But now we're talking about multiple body weights on our system, so what do we need? We need a rescue load system, so i.e. a 2-rope system. So that's what we've gone to, and we're using here the 2-tension rope system that's MPD based. So what do we want when we're in a rescue system as far as points or number of attachment points?
2.
2 attachment points. So we've got our first attachment point. Our second attachment point is going to be the Aztec kit. Grab one of the big uprights here. Right. There you go. So we're going to grab one of the big uprights. If you can picture, if he has to, if he ends up supported by his Aztec on that upright, that carabiner should be pulled in line. It is something to watch out for, side loading of the carabiners on the attached into the litter. So the best way to avoid that, especially in this kind of terrain, is attaching into the upright. So that's our rescuer attachment. First point of attachment on the stretcher strap. We have 2 different lengths of straps here. So we choose to put the longer straps up front. The forward rescuers tend to want to move up and down a little more. Second attachment point being the Aztec kit to one of the uprights on the stretcher, and make it one of the main frame members, not the little welded in smaller uprights. We taught you not to rig any of the patient rigging to over the top rails. We're okay with that with the litter attendant straps, because basically the attendants are protecting those side rails, so you're not likely to get that chafe that we're worried about with the patient lashing stuff. So litter attendant strap over the top rail. So we have the possibility of, we can use 2 litter attendants, we can use 4 litter attendants, or we can bring those 2 straps at the foot together and we can use 3 litter attendants. It depends on the terrain, it depends on the size and weight of the patient, but we just basically know we have options with how we attach the patient in, or how we attach the attendants in. So how many body weights do we have on this system? 2 right now, yeah. Potentially we could have as many as 5 body weights. Are we good with that? We want to go for like a 10 to 1 static system safety factor. That's pretty common in the industry. So if we've got rope that's about 4,000 pounds with a knot in it, and we've got potentially 5 body weights on it, how are we with our system safety factor? We're probably a little below 10. But we're not in vertical terrain, so where is some of the weight supported in terrain like this? It's on the feet, right. So, but the takeaway from that is basically you want to be cognizant of how much of the load's going to be on the feet, how much of the load's going to be on the system, and look at that in the terrain you're going to be going over. If this surface were a completely slick, icy slope, I mean, pretty much 100% of the, or closer to 100% of the load's going to be on your system, then the rock we're actually on, which is nice and grippy, and the rescuers are actually going to be able to walk back down, down the hill and keep some of the weight on their feet. So there's a lot of variables that come into play, but again, it's just something to be cognizant of. And the practical application, if it's super steep, class 4 terrain, are you going to need more or fewer rescuers? Fewer, right? Because there's more load on the system. So I guess the practical application of the concept is I'm going in real steep terrain, so I don't need 4 rescuers on the system. I'm gonna decide to go with 3 rescuers. We're kind of close to already loaded here, but ordinarily what we want to do is we want to put some tension on the system, and we can do that by basically having the rescuers, in this case, have the rescuers pull back on the system and tension it up. CATS doesn't have a whole lot of room back there, so what's another way we could load the system?
Tension up.
Yeah, we got these super cool MPDs with progress capture built in, so guys, go ahead and put some tension on here.
Why do you want to do this load the system step? And how do you know that the anchors are as tight as they can be, right? How do you know there's not another couple of feet of stretch in the anchors? So these guys step up, lean back, that thing stretches out another couple of feet and he breaks an ankle. So loading the system is you're proof testing it, making sure everything settles in where it needs to be. So it's the same every time, guys. You ask if line 1's ready, you ask if line 2's ready, you ask if the rescuers are ready, you do the safety check, you load the system. In that order, every time.